And now it gives us great pleasure to be joined by Bobby Vega, who is the Deputy Director of the San Bernardino National Forest Association Urban Conservation Corps, and he's joined by Andrew Goodman, who is a program coordinator for the program. Now, you've been around for quite a few years reading from some of the old press articles that I've seen here, but tell us what it is that your primary mission or focus is within the community.
Well, you know, I believe that the highlight of our program is being able to afford opportunities to some of the underprivileged young people living in our communities that, again, that don't have the resources to recreate, to give back to the community, jobs, the skills to get jobs. And that's what we do. We basically treat young people in a manner that, well, we train them basically to become employable. How do you give back to the community? How do we create jobs? How do we teach a young person to stay away from the negatives of drugs, gangs? As we all know, the city of San Bernardino we're in bad shape. Mm-hmm. And as a resident of this community, I've been programming in this community over 20 years. I'm a resident here, so again, the need to develop this conservation corps came out of the need, again, to reach out to these communities and give them opportunities.
I was reading today, or listening to a program, I think it was on the radio, that stated that teenage unemployment was at roughly about 25%. So much, much higher than the national average for any other group. And I should imagine it looks pretty good for any young kid who's got a couple of years with an association such as this on their resume to future prospective employers, because I think it shows some sort of backbone, right?
And that's exactly what we do. We don't turn any young person away, and we realize that if you don't have those job skills, you don't have that attitude, you're not going to get hired. So what we've done, again, is we don't turn any kid away. Some of our opportunities, most of them are paid opportunities.
Really?
Where we contract out with our local city of San Bernardino, Economic Development Agency, Parks and Rec. So we're able to come in and get work contracts because, again, unfortunately, they've laid off city workers, but the work still got to get done. You can't shut down a public park. So public parks, the directors have realized that we need to still outsource this type of work, and we're able to do it cheaper than anybody. But again, the benefit is that these kids live in these communities. They take pride in this community. We're teaching them how to give back. You know, it's interesting because the feedback that we get is by employing these young people that take pride in these areas that we work in, crime goes down, vandalism goes down. So there's a big benefit to hiring young people, you know, and again, I think that's the niche that takes us over the top. But again, our kids are also required to fill out behavioral contracts, code of conduct contracts. We're not just going to hire you and after work you go out and get to do all this nonsense. You know, we hold you accountable. And again, because we have pretty good partnerships, United Way is on board. City of San Bernardino, Arrowhead Waters, you know, the water company, they also contract with us. But it's a way of being able to show our kids something outside of this community. You know, by taking them outside of the community and showing them the importance of why is it important not to pollute a stream up in the national forest? Why is it important to plant over 30,000 trees, in which we did over the past couple of years, in resort communities? So we're able to take these kids outside of their environment and show them something different, and the buy-in is amazing. It's amazing. It got to the point that now we have a John Muir Charter School. We opened in August, and our kids are graduating. We've had 3 graduates already, and it's just amazing that these kids want to buy into this thing of greening, nature, and we're able, under the San Bernardino National Forest Association, able to give that to the kids.
Now, is your goal pretty much to help these at-risk students? By the way, can you say the ages?
We have a youth corps in which we started in 2006. The youth corps was basically between 12 years old to about 17. Most of those kids came out of public housing. Okay. And if anybody knows anything about public housing, those opportunities aren't there actually to be able to take kids out. And what we did there is we partnered with the U.S. Forest Service. The U.S. Forest Service has embraced us and have taught us about the environment, you know, what botany is, what biology is. So our kids were coming out from the weekends, going into the national forest, coming back with all this knowledge, and it impressed a lot of people in this community that, wow, you know, these kids are stakeholders. These kids are becoming stewards of the land.
So back to the question, is it your goal to get them ultimately to have enough experience and get them to work eventually for a public land agency?
Yes, it is, and that's one of the successes that we do. We have had some of our young people actually been employed by the Forest Service. So public land maintenance, it could be city parks, state parks, county parks. So there's opportunities, you know, and we realize that all these kids are not all college bound.
No.
But there's opportunities, and the training that we engage these kids in is just amazing. Like I said, our city parks realizes that if we train these young people at an early age, why would we hire from outside if these guys are already, they're stakeholders, they live here, we've taught them, and that's the benefit. And hopefully some of them do go to college and go into the sciences, because there is opportunities on that big mountain right behind us. There's a lot of opportunities that we didn't know about years ago.
Andrew, tell us some of the, you're a program coordinator, so tell us what that involves, and some of the interesting projects that you might have been involved in.
Well, I actually kind of oversee all the programs that we have, as far as the Youth Corps, our AmeriCorps program, and like our EDA and projects like that. I pretty much make sure that we have like all the staff-wise, members to actually go out there and produce like the work that's provided in the city of San Bernardino. I'm pretty much like covered like all paperwork and stuff like that. Make sure like we have the application files. Make sure the work is getting done. Make sure the actual contract is actually getting billed for it. All that kind of stuff.
So Bobby, I'm going to give you the same question, because we've got a kind of an old article here, but I found it was kind of fascinating that you actually went up into the mountains and you cleared out, it says here, Youth Corps restores children's forest, and you actually did twice as many miles of trails, cleared them up as you intended to do on that day. I'm sure you've got plenty of other fascinating stories of accomplishments.
Well, again, it's like, you know, we scouting programs don't typically come into poor communities. And that's something that we've been able to blend with our Conservation Corps, those type of services. I mean, environmental education, recreation. Our agency has over 40 kayaks and canoes that they rent out in the summer. We're able to take our kids up at no cost, because they're part of the Corps, and recreate. I mean, children's forest, 30,000 acres, and we're able to come in and recreate, have the U.S. Forest Service come in and educate our kids about the environment, because there's a correlation. Anything that happens in the mountain affects us down here, and our kids are learning that. So, you know, again, the 30,000 trees we planted in Lake Arrowhead area, some of the areas that burned a couple of years ago. I mean, it's just, you know, the importance of why we were out there planting trees. So again, it's just something that just, it works. It works.
Now, do you pay these kids that come out and work?
The young people in the Youth Corps receive a stipend. The stipend could be anywhere from $60 to $100.
Okay.
Now, in order for them to get that stipend, they have to attend 2 life skills training classes during the week in their community centers, and they give back 2 community days, which are Saturdays, service learning days. We call them service learning days. So they actually come out and they earn that money, the stipend. Right. But also gives them an opportunity to stay involved in the program. And we have the adult court, 18 to 24. So now their eyes are on, how do I become a Corps member? How do I become an adult Corps member? So again, you know what? It works in the areas that we work in, and it keeps these kids from getting involved in all the bad stuff that goes on in our communities.
Fantastic.
And they buy into it.
You're located in San Bernardino,
We're located 170 Southeast Street, right next to the ballpark.
about a block away from here.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Do you have a website that maybe some people can go to find out more information about it?
www.sbnfa.org.
Okay.
And then they can click on conservation. We're one of 6 divisions. They can go on to the Conservation Corps link, click on that.
Well, thank you, Bobby and Andrew, and thank you